Saludimas.
Check. Check one, two. Check one, two. Check. Check one, two. Check one, two.
Sailboat in the moonlight and you. Wouldn't that be heaven? A heaven just for two. A soft breeze on a June night and you. What a perfect setting for letting dreams come true. A chance to sail away to Sweetheart Bay beneath the stars that shine. A chance to drift, for you to lift your tender lips to mine. The things, dear, that I long for are few. Just give me a sailboat in the moonlight, and you.
Especially en la compañía de Highland. Soy la hermana mayor entre cuatro hermanos. Yeah, it doesn't. It works. Okay, good. Like. I'm serious. Hola, mi nombre es Marianny Reyes. Soy Weatherization Specialist en la compañía. everybody in by May. You may drop 30.
Well, good morning. Hopefully, by talking, we'll attract some other people in the room. You know, it's a little early on a Friday morning, right after Halloween. Quick show of hands, who is happy with all the choices they made last night? That's all that matters. Well, I think we're just gonna get started. So I'm gonna bypass long bios because Ashley and Kaylee will do a little introduction. And we chatted a little bit before the session, and they are going to fill your bellies with the full alphabet soup of apprenticeship and sector partnerships and all of that. So leave some room for all they're gonna fill us up with. Very quickly, I know you've probably heard this before. If you have the opportunity to give your feedback through our CVent app, we do really recommend it. I say it all the time. It's the best way for you to make the most of our conference. So if you haven't uploaded the app or if you haven't used the connecting feature in it, by all means do that. It continues to run and cycle through all of our events. So when you come back next year, you'll have your contacts all readied and loaded up. And so if you didn't get the chance in the last 365 days to do all those fun things that you kind of hoped and strategized around while you were here, you'll be able to find those individuals. So without further ado, this session does run through 8:50, so we'll get started. It's Kylie and Ashley, and they are joining us from the Foundation for California Community Colleges. And they're here to talk to us, like I said, about sector partnerships, high road partnerships, and apprenticeship. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Hi, thanks to all of you for being here at 8 a.m. on a Friday after Halloween in New Orleans. So really appreciate it. I'm Kaylee Martin. I'm a senior specialist for the Education to Work Partnership team in the Workforce Development Department at the Foundation for California Community Colleges. And I am joined by Ashley Matthews, who is the Senior Project Coordinator? Project Manager, sorry. Senior Project Manager with the Fresno Regional Workforce Board. So we're going to talk to you about a project that we have going on in California. Maybe, there we go. Just a quick agenda check. I'm going to give you a little bit of context about what's happening in California, just in terms of the workforce space, the community college space, and how they work together. I'll give you an overview of the project itself, and then I'm going to pass it over to Ashley to dazzle you with what they're actually doing on the ground in Fresno. And then we'll open it up to questions. So a few things about California. I know everybody says this, but we're a system of federated systems. So community colleges, there's 117 in California that are all interconnected but independent. Same with the workforce boards and the labor spaces. So there's a lot of independence and individual policies and decision makings and things that need to happen at the local and regional levels, which makes partnership a fun opportunity for addressing those challenges. We're also a heavy organized labor state. So 15% union density in California compared to about 10% in the US. So 15% of our employed workers are through labor unions or through unions. And then California Community College system is the largest, most diverse education system in the US, the fourth largest in the world. So 2 million students that have a variety of offerings from short-term credentials to baccalaureate degrees. And we really see our role as serving the top 100% of students in California. So that emphasis and philosophy on access and economic mobility is sometimes at tension with the market-driven competition space that labor unions operate in. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the community college system because that's where I'm from, and I want to tell you why we at the Foundation are part of this project. So the California Community College Chancellor's Office launched Vision 2030, which is essentially our strategic plan that really prioritizes data-driven, student-centered strategies that meet students where they are to achieve equity in success, access, and support. So, and then the Foundation for California Community Colleges really works in partnership with the Chancellor's Office, and we work to reduce barriers to opportunity, strengthen communities, and accelerate paths to economic and social mobility for all Californians in our 6 impact areas, which are student success, community impact, system support, equity, climate, and workforce development. And then we in the Workforce Development Department are really working to enhance work-based learning opportunities and improve equitable delivery of career and training programs to help students and individuals enter the workforce and achieve good paid jobs. So this is the community college system. And then I want to tell you a little bit about the workforce system and the framework that the California Workforce Development Board developed under which this project operates. I promise it'll all come together and I'll talk about the project in just a couple slides. So the High Road Framework is an effort of the California Workforce Development Board. Has anybody heard Good Jobs Challenge, Good Jobs? It's very much in alignment. It's just California focused. They launched this in 2017. And it's a set of economic and workforce principles to achieve economic growth, economic equity, shared prosperity, and a clean environment. So it's where supply and demand come together for individuals, employers, and the community. So they're working to improve job quality, access, and mobility for workers, meet skill, profitability, and competitiveness needs of employers, and then achieve long-term economic sustainability, environmental sustainability, and climate resilience for communities. So with all of those are wrapped up in the High Road Framework, under which there are then 2 pots of funding and support and programming. So there's the High Road Training Partnership, and then there's the High Road Construction Careers, which is what we're going to talk about. So High Road Construction Careers is a partnership, prioritizes partnerships that link building and construction trades councils to workforce boards, community colleges, and community-based organizations. And it's really working to create structured pathways to state-certified apprenticeships in a variety of crafts and standard core curriculum and supportive services, and build policies and systems to advance equity and job quality. And then within HRCC, there's a thread that is HRCC SB1, which aims to advance careers in building and construction trades as a reliable pathway to the middle class for all Californians, but particularly disadvantaged, through multi-craft pre-apprenticeship training. Has anybody heard of the MC3 multi-craft core curriculum? If not, you're going to learn a lot about it, so that's great. All right, so all that. High Road Recovery Partnership is within this framework. It is funded by Lumina Foundation. It is managed by the Foundation for California Community Colleges in partnership with the California Workforce Development Board. And then there's technical assistance provided through CWDB and the State Building and Construction Trades Council. And then we partner with 3 HRCCs in Fresno Regional Workforce Board, Valley Build, San Diego Workforce Partnership, and San Bernardino Community College District to do the work on the ground that Ashley's going to talk about in a minute. And we're in phase 2 of this work. So the first phase was 2021 to 2023, and it was really about identifying and testing and trying things and seeing what works and all of the joys of things that you can do with philanthropic dollars. And phase 2 is really about identifying those promising and best practices and disseminating that. So the purpose of the High Road Recovery Partnership is twofold. So one, there's the support, training, and participants and apprentices through the HRCC partnership model. So this is creating those pipelines into building trades apprenticeship programs through the pre-craft training and supportive services for individuals. So this is individual completions, individual outcomes, all of that. And then the second layer is really strengthening this partnership model between the labor councils, workforce development, community colleges, to demonstrate the catalytic effect that that collaboration can have. So how are we increasing scope, scale, reach, size, speed of impact? So the outcomes for these 2 groups, these two layers. For individuals, we want to increase employment-aligned credentials in preparation for building trades or higher ed, or best case scenario, earn and learn approaches where you're doing both at the same time. And then increase program participation and completion rates among populations underrepresented in construction careers. So typically this is women and then persons of color. And then for the partnership piece, we want to see increased collaboration with regional partners to maximize opportunities for those individuals, identification and promotion of best practices for regional collaboration, and then piloting resources and supports that can be sustainably scaled. So I'm not going to read all this, but these are just some of the opportunities, the things that can be done with this project. I'm going to let Ashley tell you more about what they're doing in Valley Build.
Hi, good morning. Oh, let me pull this up here a little bit. Sorry, I've got the high heels on today. All right, so as Kaylee mentioned, my name is Ashley Matthews. I am the Senior Manager at the Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board, and I have the honor of seeing the Valley Build project grow. Kaylee really laid a nice foundation, no pun intended, but she's right. It's really about partnerships. It is a huge collaborative effort, and I'm gonna take you guys through that, but what I really wanted to feature for you today was the work that we did with the foundation to help our Valley Build Now program. So our Now program stands for Non-Traditional Occupations for Women, and it's really a passion project that was born out of the Building Trades Council in my area, just mentioning offhand that they'd really like to see an all-women's cohort one day. And that's all I needed. I was like, I got you guys, give me 1 year. And within a year we had launched, and we're going to be recruiting for our 4th all-female cohort in the spring. So it's been very nice. Yes, thank you. So what is Valley Build? So Valley Build is a 14-county partnership. And just to give you guys a scale here, in California, 14 counties in the Central Valley can take about 5 hours to drive through. So just to give you a little bit of scope. We are made up of 4 building trades councils. We have 14 workforce development boards on with us, and we have 5 community college partners that assist. The model that we operate on is the MC3 curriculum. We do a cohort based learning approach with these folks, and then we really perfected that within Fresno, and we've spent the last 5 years growing that out. So we now have 6 campuses that we operate. We do well over, I would say, 20 cohorts a year, and it's really helped, as Kaylee mentioned, having the partnerships that we do, because otherwise we would not be able to work within that silo if it was just us. The certifications that we offer our students include the MC3 Certificate of Completion. We do first aid CPR training, OSHA 10 or 30, depending on what region they're in. We do forklift safety, HAZWOPER certifications. We do scaffolding, aerial lifts, scissor lifts, and we also provide them with personal trainers and gym memberships, because we all know first-year apprentices, the most likely reason that they go out of the job is due to injury. So we start that conditioning very early. The basic requirements for the program are that they're 18 years or older, have a high school diploma or GED, and a valid California driver's license. So we try to keep it very minimal. We do a lot of wrap services, which I'll talk about in a little bit, to help support the students while they go through. And then that's a list of all of our wonderful affiliates that we work with. So what we did in order to prepare for doing this all-women's cohort that I had mentioned was we used the foundation grant money that we were awarded under the HRP to create a women's equity study. So a little bit about how we approach this. I kind of call it more of a case study than really, a larger study, because we really just focused on our Valley Build pre-apprentices and how do we get more women into our pre-apprenticeship in order to increase their apprenticeship numbers. For those that don't know, on average, it's about 4 to 6% women in apprentices per industry. Some industries are a little bit higher, like I know the electricians usually run a little bit higher than that, and some are a little bit lower. I'm not going to call anyone out though, so don't worry. So for this study, what we did is we took a survey of all of the women who ever applied to our program. And our program is about 15 years old in Fresno. So we reached out to all of those, about 400 women total. And we surveyed them for, did they go through the MC3? Did they drop after the first phone call? Did they not show up to their orientation? Did they pass on the drug test? Where did we lose them in the cycle and why? And then for we also interviewed those that did graduate the program, and we asked them, what kind of supports did you need? What were the things that made it hard for you to get through the apprenticeship program? And then we took all of those and created some initiatives for ourselves that we eventually expanded out to all of our partners within the Central Valley. So these were the 9 action steps that our study identified. You're going to look at these and you're going to say, that's really obvious. And it is really obvious. So these are things that people are telling us that they need in order to be successful, particularly women in this realm. So first, they need compensation to be able to attend the training. If you don't know a lot about workforce development boards, which is, where I'm housed, we help the populations that need the most help. And so a lot of our folks are long-term unemployed, generationally, system impacted, and they need a lot of guidance and support to get on the right track. But one of the great things about a lot of those folks too is they have that passion and that determination and that drive. And that's really what we try to foster in them in order to meet those goals. So we're going to just run through these real quick, and I want to give you some best practices that we're doing locally that came out of the study. So the first, compensation for the program. So what we instituted is a needs-related stipend for all of our students based on family size. And that allows them to have, keep their lights on, keep paying their bills while they're going through our training program. Our program can last anywhere from 6 to 10 weeks, depending on which program they enroll in. And so it is really important that we provide that wrap service for those folks. The second, they asked us to provide an alternative class schedule. So right now, it's a very intensive program. It's Monday through Friday, full time. We're trying to get them through a short-term training so that they can work as soon as possible. So we're definitely exploring all those options on being able to hold night and weekend classes. The third is the needs-based stipend for childcare. Has anyone here heard of the ERICA grant in California? Okay, so ERICA stands for Equal Representation in Construction Apprenticeship. And what it does is it allows us to give a $10,000 stipend to any apprentice that is from one of our target populations in order to support childcare. It's focused on supporting women in particular, but we're also helping anyone who is an underrepresented population as well. And on top of that $10,000, if they were a pre-apprentice, when they went through their pre-apprenticeship, they can also get a $5,000 stipend for childcare for going through their pre-apprenticeship. And the thought behind this initiative, which came down from our Division of Apprenticeship Standards under our DIR, was that this would help to encourage more women to enroll in apprenticeship, because we know childcare is such a huge issue. And we heard it straight from the mouths of the folks that we studied that it is. So we were actually awarded the ERICA grant, and we have served 89 apprentices so far and 12 pre-apprentices. And we'll continue to do that for the next year and give those stipends out to help increase those numbers. The fourth was the awareness. So we do partner with organizations like Tradeswomen Inc., other CBOs, community colleges, other workforce boards, just to try to get the word out and reach those women that, they sit down with a career counselor, and is the career counselor really going to suggest that they go into construction first? Maybe not. We're going to also provide the option of the all women's cohort, which we've already done, right? So we heard that from the students. Having at least one female instructor per trade during the program was an ask. And that seems really obvious, right? So very low hanging fruit. We were able to integrate those mentors. And now that we're on our 4th female cohort, we have actually been able to bring back alumni from previous cohorts to come and talk to the students. So that's been wonderful to have that mentorship connection. So a lot of capacity building. Expanded guidance on confronting harassment and discrimination. So right now we are working on what we're calling the Respectful Workplace Campaign, which is going to be a series of diversity, equity, and inclusion modules for pre-apprentices to take, both male and female, that helps them understand really in the construction industry, what does harassment look like? What can you do? What is it going to be like every day when you walk on a job site, and what are you going to see? So these are really, exposure models. They're really going to drive the independence of the student and their personal accountability for stopping anything on the ground where they're at. So it focuses on what they can do themselves. And we're actually filming those right now, so they should be out by next year. We are also expanding support for selecting and entering the trades. We were able to add on an 8-week guaranteed paid work experience for all of our graduates. So now anyone who graduates our program, they're not immediately offered an indenture letter or a placement with an apprenticeship. They have a guaranteed 8 weeks of work experience to go to while they find the apprenticeship that they're looking for. So that's been very helpful in retaining folks, in promoting graduation rates. We are currently at about a 97% graduation rate. So it's been very successful so far using that model. And finally, further research on reducing gender discrimination and effective trade connections. And again, I already mentioned that Respectful Workplace campaign that we're working on. So I just wanted to share some of photos of our students, because I am a stage mom at heart and I love sharing these. Valley Build, obviously, we strive to increase the number of women in the construction trades, but we are a co-ed program and we definitely love our brothers and the support that they give us. So this is our 40th cohort with our operating engineers. And those are 3 of the lovely ladies that graduated from our program. 2 of them are now indentured with the laborers union, and the 3rd one is in job search with one of our talent management specialists. And these were our first 2 cohorts that we did. So we've got cohort 1 right over there, a very special cohort for us. We had 2 best friends who had been since they were in kindergarten together. We had sisters, and we had a mother and daughter. So I think that really speaks to the need for an all-female cohort and being able to be comfortable in that space and watching these women blossom over their 10 weeks. So they needed the all-female cohort to get their foot in the door. But by the time they graduated, they could hold their own, they were confident, and they all were able to go out and be successful. And then we have our second class here. I'm going to point to the woman standing on the far left in the white jacket. You guys are going to get to hear her story here in just a moment, Mariani Reyes. And this was our class that just graduated about 2 months ago, I think. And so they are all finishing up their work experience now and heading into their apprenticeships. We've got a couple sheet metal workers, 2 plumbers, and a few laborers in there so far. But we've got a lot of ambitious painters and operating engineers waiting in the wings for their number to be called. All right, so I'm going to jump into the video because I think this speaks volumes and says more than I ever could. And so this is Mariani. She was in our second cohort.
Hola, mi nombre es Mariani Reyes. Soy Weatherization Specialist en la compañía de Highland Energy. Soy la hermana mayor entre 4 hermanos y cuando estaba en Venezuela tuve la oportunidad de estudiar, pero no fue fácil encontrar trabajo debido a la crisis económica que hay en mi país. De esa manera llegué acá a Estados Unidos, hice diferentes tipos de trabajo, tanto lavar platos como carnicería, en diferentes cosas, hasta que por suerte visité Workforce Connection y ellos me mostraron lo que era el Valley Build Program. Apliqué Ellos me dieron la oportunidad de recibir las clases en construcción y sin ningún costo me compraron todo lo necesario, tanto botas como mis cosas escolares. Eso fue una gran oportunidad para mí, ya que pude obtener diferentes certificados y obtener el trabajo que hoy poseo.
Well, the first time I actually met her was in person at an orientation. She came in for the orientation for this program for Value Build. And at the time, we were recruiting for our Value Build Now program. So the second woman focused class. We are across 14 counties and we're able to impact a lot of people that are underserved. We get to help them explore a new career. And that's probably the most amazing part of this job because people have so much potential and they don't see it until they have programs like this one that helps them explore something new.
Ese día tuve la oportunidad de conversar por primera vez con Beatriz y pienso que hubo una bonita conexión porque ella pudo notar esa inspiración y ese deseo que yo he tenido en mi corazón desde que llegué a Estados Unidos de poder progresar, de poder encontrar esa oportunidad.
She was really receptive, very quiet. One thing I did notice about her, she was always smiling. And that always drew me like, wow, this is just a really happy person. It's what it is. And nobody would ever even think the hardship she's been through. In talking with her, she had like a near-death experience.
Tuve una experiencia sobrenatural porque me ahogué, perdida en el mar como por más de 2 horas y ya los rescatistas me habían dado por perdida. Todas las personas que andaban conmigo ese día lloraron y estaban asustadas porque ya mi cuerpo no aparecía por ninguna parte. Y pasó a ser de que como unas 2 o 3 horas después, unos pescadores que estaban en un muelle cerca de un río vieron mi cuerpo flotar y me sacaron. Ellos decían que mi cara era totalmente morada. Intentaron reanimarme y me golpearon y decían, vamos a llamar una ambulancia. Yo creo que ella ya no está aquí. Uno de ellos insistió y empecé a vomitar el agua. Cuando abrí mis ojos, yo no sabía si estaba realmente viva o no. Y él me decía, Dios te ha dado una segunda oportunidad.
After he saved her and she was breathing again, he said, you were meant for much more than this. Your life was meant for more.
Y eso es lo que pienso al momento de que llegó Workforce Connection, es parte de esa oportunidad de poder empezar y de poder apoyar a mi familia de una forma grandiosa, con oportunidad y con estudio, sin algún costo.
She is an educated woman in Venezuela. She has a degree there. And she came here and she's not able to use any of that. You know, and she's just trying to find her way.
Cuando finalicé mis certificaciones con Valuable, ellos me empezaron a promocionar, enviarme diferentes ofertas de trabajo vía email, también recibiendo llamadas diciéndome esta compañía, vamos a enviar tu resume, vas a ir a una entrevista y verdaderamente es un gran apoyo que hace Workforce Connection y Valuable porque te apoyan y te dicen realmente en dónde está la posición y si realmente es algo que te interesa lo puedes obtener. No es un proceso donde sencillamente te gradúas y tú tienes que buscar. Ellos te dan ese apoyo y ese aporte hasta que realmente consigas el trabajo que realmente es el ideal para ti.
I never met someone like Mariani. She pushes through everything with such a positive light. And as much as recognition she can get, I'd be so honored to just be a little part of her life.
Quiero agradecer a Fresno Regional Workforce Development Board por este reconocimiento, agradecer a Beatriz, a Ashley y a todas las personas que estuvieron y fueron parte de este progreso en mi vida. Les doy muchas gracias, ya que por su gran trabajo, personas como yo pudieron cambiar su vida.
So, like I mentioned, her story is more powerful than anything I could ever, come up here and say to you guys. But we're so proud of Mariani, and she's just one of many of the stories that come out of Valley Build. And she was actually recognized as our participant of the quarter, which is why, we did the spotlight on her. And she went down and presented to the Department of Labor on our behalf at their last convening as well. So she is very powerful. She loves to share her stories. She's currently working for Highlands Energy, and she's doing amazing. And she's actually working with cohort members from some of our other classes, out on job sites, and we get videos and photos from them. It's great to see. So, Other than that, just looking at the future and, we're currently in our second round of funding with the foundation. And next, we're going to be looking at doing a study on persons of color. We're also doing a lot of work with our community colleges to certify us for college credit. For credit for prior learning. And we've actually been able to launch that. We're having our first orientation on November 22nd during National Apprenticeship Week. So there's lots of good things to come. And I really thank you guys for letting me come up here and share a little bit of our story and what we're doing. So thank you.
I also just want to recognize that Beatrice from the video is also in the room. And so thank her for all of her support. So now we really have time. Oops, we're going to start.
Hola, mi nombre
On
es.
purpose, sorry. Questions from anybody? Yes.
No, nothing's digital.
No, no. Easy answer. Let's see if I can make that work. There we go. Yes. So we are a registered pre-apprenticeship in California. And so then after they finish our pre-apprenticeship, they can go to any of I think we have 27 different trades under our Building Trades Council. And we try to help them get into whichever ones during the MC3 they identified as, their passion and where they want to go. Oh, absolutely. No. Absolutely. So we actually work with our trades members. They come out during the program. They can spend anywhere from 4 hours to 2 days with our students, just exploring their trade. So they do a hands-on learning project with them. They show them how to apply. If the trade requires an entrance exam, they give the exam. If the students pass, they get automatic interviews. Every local is different. So in some of our different territories, we're able to set up different programs that allow the students to get extra points on their interview for going through an MC3 or, a guaranteed interview, whatever we can to, help guide them. And so when they're going through the program, we encourage them to apply to any trade they're interested in. We tell them, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Some trades can take up to 2 years to call you back just because their wait lists are so long. So, we definitely make sure that they have a good idea of what they're getting into. And I think that's why our retention and graduation rates are so high, is because we focus a lot on front loading that education with them. Beatrice, do you remember? I think it was an engineering degree, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Their certificate of pre-apprenticeship and the NF. Yes, that station. Can you repeat that question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yes. Okay. So the question was, can you say that for me one more time? Gotcha. So the question is there any services offered to fill the gap between the time of graduation and placement in the apprenticeship program? And the answer is yes. So at the workforce development boards, what we do is we help them through what we call a job readiness process. So by the time they graduate our program, they have completed mock interviews, they have full functional resumes, they're also knowledgeable of all their career pathways. And so we help build out. So if a person were to say operating engineers,
It's the only place for me to go. It's going to be 2 years on that wait list. We say, okay, so what's our plan, until that 2 years comes up. So we'll help place them with other contractors. We offer work experiences, transitional jobs, on-the-job trainings. We also refer them to educational partners. So, if our community colleges have additional certificates that maybe will be useful for them, such as heavy equipment operation, then we'll build out those plans with them as well. We call them IEPs, individual employment plans. I know that has different contexts in different circles.
Then I'll also add San Bernardino Community College District has part of their phase 2 work was creating labs and things that would then make them more competitive in the apprenticeship application process. So during that window of completing the MC3 and then getting into the union.
Okay, so the question is, what is the role of the community colleges in the project? So I'll speak from a Valley Build perspective, and then I'll hand it over to Kaylee. So for our project, our community colleges do a lot of different things. We have one of our Valley Build programs is actually on one of our community college campuses, and they were in partnership with our trades program. We were able to hire an adjunct professor, so former tradesman, and the campus is housed in their industrial ag center. And so we have been able to really integrate into their campus, and we're recruiting for their first cohort right now. So they'll be launching in March. So we do that. We also work with them on the Credit for Prior Learning initiative that was rolled out by the Chancellor's Office. Fresno, like I had mentioned, has already certified their program, and we're working with the other community colleges to get our other campuses done as well. And then we also do referrals back and forth to each other. So, if somebody needs additional assistance, I'm referring them over to the counselor with our community college, or if they have gotten their stuff and now they need an introduction to the trades, they're getting referred over to me. So it's very symbiotic.
Yeah, I'll add to that. And it's just one of the central components of this partnership between the community college and the workforce boards and the building and trades councils for the HRCC model. And San Bernardino Community College District actually serves as the lead for their HCC and HRCC in San Bernardino. So all of the stuff that Ashley said, community colleges are often to the lead education agency for the apprenticeship programs in a lot of cases. So having that partnership with the pre-apprenticeship program is also really helpful to have all of those being on the same page throughout the pathway.
So the question was, what is the CPL being articulated for? So for the pre-apprenticeship, it's 3 units and a certificate. They do have to come back and take 1 additional class with the college. And then they are currently evaluating 3 of our apprenticeships, our sheet metal, electricians, and plumbers. And so those will be, the goal for those is to have an AA degree at the end of the apprenticeship.
And then it is a priority of the California Community College System and the Chancellor's Office to really make these apprenticeship pathways more degree focused, not only associate or certificates, but also associate's degrees and baccalaureate degrees. So there's a lot of work being done right now to pilot and demonstrate the success that these kinds of pathways could create.
These spaces, or is it this is the process we have when people are having challenges?
So the question was, do we find challenges with math? And the resounding answer is yes. There is a ton of math, obviously, in construction. And I think a lot of people kind of gloss over that when they think about what construction is. And we've tried several different models. We've done construction math focused classes with Fresno City College. So they've been 9-week online courses with industrial math training. We've also piloted a program we're calling a boot camp, where they come in every day and they get a little piece of a physical component, tool recognition, some basic English and math in order to actually prepare them for the MC3. That model has been working particularly well for us lately. We also have a math instructor who does a full week of construction-focused math, specifically on entrance exams. So really helping the students study with that. And then we definitely encourage them to do study clinics, and we try to offer tutors whenever we can.
And then contextualized math and English were really for San Diego Workforce Partnership and San Bernardino Community College District. Phase one was really their project, was developing contextualized math and English programs. They found that English didn't work quite as well as the math did. So they're continuing those programs during this second phase for the contextualized math, and even leveraging some state and federal dollars to help sustain those programs going forward.
Yeah, and just to add on, we found the same thing when we did the 9-week math class with our community college. We also tried to do a vocational English class as well, and it was very difficult. We are piloting a new model right now for an operating engineer training for heavy equipment that is a dual immersion class. So the students are taking a ELL class alongside the heavy equipment class, and they're doing it as a cohort. So that's actually just being piloted right now, but we're hopeful for that.
I just a lot of data.
Absolutely. So the question was, what kind of bachelor options do we see for the construction path and other pathways? Do you want to kick that one off?
I think we're really open. I think the idea is, at least the conversations that I've been a part of, are construction is a hard job, that you might eventually want to go into management or things like that. And so building those pathways that make it more permeable between construction or apprenticeship programs and that higher ed. So really seeing those career pathways and the kinds of degrees that would get you to those next steps in terms of management or engineering or support or things like that.
Yeah, and also, yeah, absolutely, same thing. So, project management, being able to go into those types of positions, as well as being able to start their own businesses. So having the acumen to become a contractor, to become a signatory, that is really important to a lot of folks that come into our program. That's honestly a lot of goals that a lot of students have, is they want to open their own business. Mm-hmm. Yes.
The childcare issues don't disappear once you get a job, and so what kind of support is there for that intermediate period when they're between, the MC3 and the apprenticeship, or when they're in the apprenticeship, do those grants apply to those people too? And just wondering about the continuity of care issue.
Absolutely. So the question was to talk a little bit about more about the ERICA grant and the services that it provides and the timing. So the ERICA grant was really built for programs to use it how they need it. So it's very specific to each awardee. It was a very flexible grant, which we all appreciated because we all operate differently. We had workforce boards apply for the grant. We had building trades, individual affiliates, lots of different types of organizations were awarded. So for our organization, what we did was, within our partnership, we reached out to all of our locals and asked them to share that information about the childcare stipends. We deliver our stipend on a monthly basis. After employment verification that said they've gone through, they get a check for $833 every month for a year to get up to that $10,000. And they can use that for anything that they need to pay for their childcare cost. So they can pay a licensed daycare, a family member. It's very flexible for them. Yes, for the length of the grant. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just that first year to help get them over that hump. But we've honestly been referred third year apprentices that are still struggling, so it hasn't been limited to new apprentices by any means. It is state money. Yes. So the question was, where was the Erica funding come from? So it was through the state. Yes. Any other questions? Yes. They're absolutely. So the question was my cohort numbers were jumping around there. And that's because we do one all-female cohort a year and our other two cohorts are co-ed. So 37 was a co-ed cohort. Just as important, but not featured for this one. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Our contact information is on the slide. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.
Oh, I know. I love a good theme. I don't think so.